Alright. What did that say? I'll keep going up.
It all looks fine from up here.
Okay, so now we head this
Can't
way.
even see the canals.
To the rooftop gondola. Caution. We know what happened last time we tried to go up an elevator, which may be kind of sort of what's gonna go down here as well. That didn't look good.
Red, I'm starting to lose you.
What? That doesn't sound good. Okay, another one of... They're called Fetch, the dog enemies. So let's see, we have, just for scouting purposes, let's look around. We have a cheerleader. We have at least one weed that is currently being shielded by a cheerleader. That is no good. That is a nasty combo of defensive support characters. Over here we have another cheerleader that is perhaps not yet out, but soon will be out. And then another worm. Now it looks like it's this Fetch that's going to be, I think, the most annoying of these enemies. Well, there's all these defensive support enemies that we'd like to just take some time to get rid of. But this Fetch enemy is going to make that difficult to do. So I think we may even want to go for these two first, as they are not currently set up, at least not in full. And then if we could... Oh, that's not what I meant to do. That's very much not what I meant to do. Especially now that the worm is being shielded. What I meant to do was switch over to you. Okay, well, I was gonna switch over the Fetch to make it so that it was not going to pester us, because I was just saying how that was going to be annoying. But, well, it turns out that Luna did that without any direction necessary, so that is convenient. Let's see if we can get rid of this cheerleader, though, while we're on this side. Probably still, rather than walk that, we should probably jaunt that. Not sure how realistic it is to breach from one side, then hop over, or jaunt over to the other side and try to breach it again. May not be all that useful. This worm is being double shielded. Not sure if we've switched to cheerleader yet, but I am kind of curious to see how that plays out. Oh, I do also like how it says Fetch has 2 seconds left on the charm. That is useful information for sure. So if we switch the cheerleaders and they become our friends, do they stop shielding the other enemy and potentially shield us, but perhaps more importantly, just give us a window in which to actually target those worms without having to worry about the shields? Oh, and there we saw we went invisible for seconds. That is one of the abilities that we put on, our passive ability. It's still pretty new. Okay, let's take out the weed. And let's see, that's a friendly cheerleader that will remain friendly for a little while. So let's hold on. A little inefficient there. Luna's just going crazy, charming everyone, it seems. In fact, so much so that... Okay, this cheerleader is about to become uncharmed. But Luna, if you could just, like, chill there for a second. And let us jaunt here. By the time we get here, it might not be switched anymore. Again, technically, when we take our skills, we use our skills that we're setting up here on our turn, it's not quite instantaneous. It is very fast, but it is not instantaneous, so time does transpire. That may be reason enough for that to still work. We're about to find out. Not quite. Okay, now the Fetch is protected, which may also prevent us from charming it with Luna. Luna also, I'm pretty sure, has just disappeared. I think what we do is we jaunt our way out of here. Just to get away, or in fact, you know what? We don't even need to use turn to jaunt. So we should just do this. Try to get away from you where we can at Luna. Whoa! Did you see how much damage that dealt? Whoa! Okay. Or the cheerleader. I don't know if the cheerleaders can actually damage us, or if they're purely just support. So we did see some of their laser beam-like things headed in our general direction, but I kind of just didn't pay them any mind because I assumed they were just trying to shield the fetch enemy. But maybe that's not the case, because we are on very low HP. I think a large chunk of the damage came from the fetch enemy, but maybe not all of it. Let's see, that's certainly something we'd like to do is breach you. But, you know what? Maybe we don't jump. I'm trying to see if we can get a backstab. I don't even know if we can backstab the cheerleaders, to be honest. This should be a jaunt, though. Then we have a tiny bit left here. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. This. That, which is not quite enough. And then Luna. Just run over and bark on that cheerleader. That should give us enough damage to finish off everything but the other bark. Except that you technically charmed it too quickly. When does that switch? In 0 seconds. So once again, let's have you step away just a little bit to give us a window in which to snipe. Or tell you what, let's cancel. Let's just immediately unturn. Except you're gonna... Okay, I mean, I guess we can just perma stun, kind of, sort of, this fetch by hitting it once every time. Hitting it charmed so that it just can't attack us. Not the fastest way to do it, but it is safe. So there you go.
What happened?
And our sword friend, not sounding so great right now.
You know, I never thought much of the high-rise.
Huh?
Far from the water. Then I found out you lived here.
Is that honesty? Or are you just talking funny? That's a lot of worms. Or rather, weeds. We just line them all up like this. And knock them down. No real sign of additional resistance here. Bathing pool. Average simultaneous users, 2.3. That is a bit of a weird statistic to keep, but sure.
Can't even go for a swim because you're stuck with me.
Sorry. Sorry to be like that, but I'm afraid it is true. Let's use that to save. What does it say here? New limit or new function files updated. Oh! Okay. Hold on. Perhaps we have learned a little bit more about Mask. This Shomar Shazberg person. After constructing his personal glider, so remember, this was the sort of magician, entertainer / criminal of sorts. After constructing his personal glider, Mr. Shazberg sailed forth one evening from a high-rise rooftop to the delight of thousands of onlookers at ground level. Onlookers lost visibility of him as he flew into the dense fog hanging over Goldwalk. Though their cheering continued for more than 40 minutes, Mr. Shazberg, meanwhile, completed his skydrop very much as planned. What he did not expect was that several individuals were waiting there for him when he touched down. Oh. Oh. Okay, we have more info about Switch. Farah Yondale. She was Cloudbank's first ever sky painter. What? Someone who took the everyday occasion of the ever-changing sky and made an art of it. She worked for the pleasure of thousands who remembered they once took the sky for granted. Miss Yondale gained a significant following as she transformed the skies around the city, and as her skill and popularity grew side by side, she started taking requests. One such request came from her heart. She was drawn to the district of Goldwalk, where her suitor lived, and there she would soon change the horizon to shimmering sapphire for the solstice, and for their and everyone's sake. This was when her art became a liability. 26, female, meteorology and chemistry are her selections. Reason cited, sky looks blue because we want it to. That is what we heard the sword saying previously when we were looking at one of the terminals in which we had the choice of voting for the sky color. So some connections there. And I don't think we've used ping yet, so no details about that. Out of curiosity, did we activated any of these? Didn't think we did. No. So you see the line connecting them if they are active. It also says function files updated too. It's a little weird. Still not sure why that is. Maybe it just hasn't updated for whatever reason.
Think anybody else is in here besides me? I've seen no one. But when I look up to where the sky should be, I see you. And I know you can hear me.
Okay. That's a little freaky. That is a little freaky. Hundred stairs. Number of stairs? Okay, you know, I guess that does check out. It's not exactly 100, but it's pretty much 100.
Going all the way up to the top of that tower out there.
Okay. I suppose that's our target. Oh, there's a back door over there in the alcove. But I was gonna say, this looks like a big area, and those lights don't look particularly welcoming.
You can hear me, right?
Oh, hold on. Doesn't take us straight to... This is where the back door... I was like, what? Is this not what we thought it was? Okay, ready? Performance test. Let's go check it out.
I'm alright. I think I'm alright.
Are you? Because you didn't sound alright. Let's see if we have any more ideas to mull.
In high rise. Don't know what came over me out there. It was like... Well, anyway, whatever it was, it's past. Feels like I'm me again, more or less.
So you didn't feel like you before? It didn't really sound like you. Not only from your voice sounding different standpoint, but also the kinds of things you were talking about. Okay. Let's see, any other trials for us to do? Yes. Landing test. That's practice. This is a speed test. Really, just about everything. Performance test, anything new up here? No. Nothing down there. So just updated versions of the types of tests we've done before. I think speed test was usually the hardest, I want to say. Oh, the second one we did, though, was quite a bit easier. Well, we'll try this one out, I suppose.
Let's give it a shot. process shows up.
Right. Okay, so this is speed test number 3. And as was the case before, we need to destroy all the functions or all the processes that show up here before time runs out. Okay. And what do we have? Oh no. I see the cheerleaders at least, and that's going to be really annoying to deal with all them. What do we have from ability standpoint? Oh, we should have looked at this initially. Oh, we have, what is this, load and the ping one, which we picked up recently, but we have not yet used. And it looked like the initial damage was quite low, but that it hits numerous times. It also is supported by Jaunt. I don't remember what Jaunt does when supported. Hold on. When it is the thing supporting. Ugh. No, it does not hit multiple times, not by itself. Don't love that. I guess we can run in for the backstab, although we not had the best success with triggering backstabs on shooters, so maybe we don't do that? Maybe we just run straight at you and try to alternate. Oh, hold on. Wait a second. Do we create packets on the ground that we then destroy? Yes, and that's how we deal our damage. Okay, now I see. That's what this combo is all about. So you get the damage from the load, but you need to set it off using your ping. What is our range on ping? Hold on. I'm figuring this out. Do this, and then, ooh, okay. Looks like my mage does not even need to move at all. Be great. So then the question is, do we? Ooh, not that. Do we have? Nope, not that. Enough to do another one of you? No. Okay. We still go for that?
Here come your old friends.
Ooh. Wait, what? The cheerleader is shielding itself? That's what it looks like. That's possible? Excuse me? Rude? Okay, but these snapshots are right next to each other, which I think is actually a good thing. Because, oh, I believe this has enough AoE. If we put the load down there and explode it, then it will be capable of dealing a lot of damage to hopefully take out both of those enemies there. We can theoretically proceed to place another packet right on top of you. But we won't have the capability of destroying that yet. So now we just destroy you. Say it's blocked. Oh, are you shielding? Maybe you're shielding the ping. Rather, you're shielding the load packet that we created. And the load packet just so happened to be right on top of the cheerleader, so that's what made it look like the cheerleader was protecting itself.
Much time left.
There we go. Okay. Interesting. That's a different type of combo that we really have not seen before. We unlocked a new song, though, and we got some more experience, as is usually the case.
And we're back.
Okay, so that was one of the time trials. Now we have another planning test. The only one we have left? I guess that is the... Oh, no. We have a performance test as well. Wait, is this our first... Yeah, this is 1 of 7. Okay, so this is a new kind for us. Let's finish with that one then, I suppose.
Door 3, one more time. Hey, watch out.
Whoa, that was quick. Okay. Terminate the process in 1 turn. Oh, right, that's how this one works. Okay, so you're not quite on full HP, but obviously we need to get rid of you. So, oh, these are skills we've used many times before, I think. So my question is just, are we gonna need to go backstab? In fact, we might even just deliberately walk straight into you in order to not have to worry as much about all this. Can crash. Can breach. Not quite enough, but we can breach again, which might be sufficient.
Scratch that. We're done.
Not bad. Not bad. That was 2 breaches in a row, which has usually been difficult to land, but on an enemy as big as the jerk right there, much more feasible.
You are quick.
Oh, thank you. Alright, lastly we have the performance test, which by the looks of things, seems as though this will be our first time trying this type of test.
Lucky door number 4. What do we have this time?
Okay, so yeah, this does seem to be new to us. Okay, and if there is an access point, maybe we even get to choose what setup we get. Functions allowed 3 of 9. Oh! Whoa. Oh, we have 4 memory? We have 4 memory, which means there's not a lot that we can do here. We can either use crash and breach, or crash and spark, and potentially use one of those as a support ability. But no, we probably want 2 active abilities here, and just trying to remember which abilities actually give us the additional combo damage, because some of them do and some of them don't. I feel like this might be a bit of a trap, because I feel like breach tended not to do that. We might even prefer to go crash plus spark, because I think what we're trying to do here is basically just get our highest possible combo. I think that our highest possible damage in 1 turn, I think might be what we're looking for here. But we haven't really gotten the full explanation. Maybe we try, well, then again. New upgrade's not available. Okay, well, yeah, put this in here. Put this in here. Let's not be too clever this time around. We'll go for what is the most expensive possible combo for us to potentially choose, and if this doesn't work out for us, then of course we'll switch it up.
There's
Your
the
3
bell.
waves. Oh, that's how this works. Okay. Now I see. Okay, this does still count as a combo. That's good. I assume that does not count as a single wave. Probably a lot more enemies in a wave than just that. Can we crash and still getting both of you? Hold on. I would like to crash both of you, if possible, and then also breach, ideally. Not so fast. You little creep.
Bye-bye.
Okay, that's wave number 1. Then we access this to activate the next wave. Okay, but now we get more functions, or more memory, really. And slightly more functions as well. So we can mix things up a little bit more, and presumably the types of enemies we're going to run into are going to get increasingly difficult. So, yeah, that time we basically had just the most basic of enemies. So this time around, just thinking about like the order in which we encountered enemies. Next might have been the young lady, which we haven't seen much of as of late. But her thing was that she dealt a fair bit of damage, but perhaps most importantly, if we hit her once, she would teleport. So it was basically impossible to hit her twice in the same turn. So that means we have to hit her once and hit her really hard when we do that. So, we tried supporting breach with spark, giving it 3 projectiles, but the damage is reduced. I guess it turns to a little bit more of an AoE ability, but we've mostly been using Breach for pure damage, so I'm not necessarily sure we want to go that route. Whereas Crash, making that more of an AoE ability, and more of a way to set up combos, that might not be a terrible idea. It's a bit of a risk. But of course, just about everything is when we have as little memory as we currently do. I think we go for this. It is a young lady. Okay, and a creep on the way as well. So, yeah, I think we're going to want to breach the young lady to deal as much damage as possible on that first hit. Although, then again, when those enemies are all right next to each other, it would be great to, at least for the creep, it'd be great to set up a combo by first hitting it with a Crash. We'd also like to backstab. We should backstab. That is probably not the most efficient way to backstab. I feel like we probably could have found a better way to backstab. Can we... How much can we fit in here? Breach is so expensive. Theoretically, it's not going to hit the young lady with the second hit, but it would be enough to get rid of the creep. Oh, and it still creates the young lady shadow, as we're seeing here. Which means potential for more damage, but one more breach hit may be all we need. Take you out? That would be great. You do this. I do remember that. And by I do remember that, I mean that I did not initially remember that until you started doing it, and then I remembered that. Oh, that was a quick wave. That's nice. Okay, this time, what, we got 2 additional memory, which does not make a very big difference, because it does not allow us to add in load. We could add in ping, reduce the planning cost of some abilities, which kind of useful for, I mean, breach is super expensive. Turn cost, so if it reduces cost by a percentage, we want to try to use this on whatever our most expensive skill is, which I think is still breach. Turn planning cost 42, turn planning cost 20. I'm just trying to see if it's getting another modifier that we're not taking account of yet from the Crash support, or rather from the this, what is it, Spark support, the other support ability that we put in. Yeah, Spark. I think it's still this that's the most expensive. I think we still probably go for that, unless we want to use a separate ability. Oh, it's the load plus... Yeah, so this is the combo that we had in one of the previous challenges. Was load. It forms an explosive packet that we need to destroy in order to do a whole bunch of damage, but it's a 2-piece combo of sorts. And so a good way to do that is by setting the load and then using a cheap, quick little ping to detonate the load, if you will. And how does that compare in terms of price relative to what we are currently using? Load is 3, as is breach, so it'd be easiest to say get rid of breach and use that to take load, or we could get rid of spark on the support for Crash, and then we would have room for load. But still, if we do load, we probably want ping, because this is the best way, the most efficient way to get rid of the load, or actually set it off. I think we might just want to not use load. I feel like we need a little more memory to make that work effectively. I think we just make our breach a little cheaper. And this is our last wave, and I imagine, I was going to say, expecting for it to be a jerk, but no, it's, at least initially, bad cells and young ladies, or a young lady, hopefully just one. So we'll go for the backstab, and the breach is cheaper, but it is still, we're only going to be able to hit the young lady ability anyway, so it doesn't make much sense to even try to do additional stuffs. Ooh, there's definitely more enemies here, though. There are definitely more enemies here now, though. So that is the benefit of if we had done the load plus ping combo, then it would have given us solid, or very big damage and AoE capable of hitting multiple enemies with serious damage simultaneously. So that, it was perhaps a higher risk, higher reward approach, and would have required that we mix things up a little bit more, but that is going to hit the young lady. It's not ideal. Maybe we deliberately use Breach first. How much HP did the young lady have? Is that going to be enough to destroy her? It's going to be enough to destroy the creep. And we actually have a little bit remaining. Wow. Enough to still snipe this bad cell? Looks like it. Lots of ghost young ladies. But we're back. Did that hit the young lady? Might as well backstab her here, I think. Can we backstab you and still hit the bad cell in the same hit? Theoretically, that'll do the trick. Except for this part. Once again, we almost got them all there. Shouldn't be too bad to finish the job, though. And there we go. I like that one. That one's cool. Unlocked another song.
You felt that, right?
I guess? Yes, I did. Still the practice room, of course, but I don't think we have a particular need to check that out now. I think this is one of the songs that we just unlocked. This too, which I'm not even sure we've heard in-game yet. So I'm gonna deliberately skip over that a bit. I think this is the one that we had active previously. So maybe we'll stick with that. Was it? No, this was, I think, Stained Glass. Okay. So I think that means we are just about done with everything here in the back door area as of this moment.
I'm sure I'll be fine.
The sword says he'll be fine,
Back from break.
but I don't think he's fine. Ooh! We have some friends that were waiting for us to return. That is hopefully just a couple of young lady 2.0s, because they're pretty strong. So any additional friends, and that would make matters quite difficult. We have not yet unleashed our doggo pal. So maybe that is worth doing that real quick. Especially while we still have these walls set up here. Momentarily, because they are probably about to get broken down. But that means we could turn one of these young ladies on the other one. That would be great. So I think that's probably what we're looking to do here, is have you backstab and switch that young lady, and then just run off in this direction, because I don't want you to switch the other young lady. I just want you to chill here, like as far away as possible. And then for red, that means we can go here. I'm actually curious to what extent this young lady teleports. Obviously she will when we hit her, but when the other young lady hits her, that I'm not as sure about.
One of those gotta be fake, right? Oh, wow. No fair.
Okay, let's see. We still have Luna is chilling over here. Hold on. What's the deal? Can you... I guess we could just have you take out the ghost young ladies. That's I mean, if we're gonna do that, we should do that efficiently, but... Obviously, it's gonna kill them, so the switch is functionally not really gonna do anything, but at least occupies Luna, and it's a, you know, it's a useful thing for her to do. Maybe not the single most useful thing, but probably for us to do here. Are the young ladies causing each other to teleport? Because they may be. It's a little hard to tell. This one keeps on switching. I think they might be causing each other to teleport, which is just making this total and complete chaos. But, I mean, if we can still get in a few hits here, let's make sure we actually don't get this blocked. I feel like it might happen if we're not careful. And ideally get the backstab as well, which I'm hoping, yes, will be the case here. No! Don't go after Luna! Luna, if you could just, like, casually pick up every last one of these, that would be great. That would be a great use for her. Then for red... this one is currently friendly, so we actually can't do anything along those lines. Red? Oh. Red. Undo that turn. Yeah, you might kind of just be waiting, Red. Well, casually... Oh, so close. So close to getting them all. Okay, this young lady, we would like to just hit. So that means you can attack that one. Or, by attack that one, I mean, like, hit that one. And then for red... Can't really tell. Oops. Not breach. Jaunt. I think this is the side we're looking for. Yeah, there's the backstab. Don't you turn on us. It did turn. Ooh, it did turn on us. And meant that we did not get the backstab damage, but... Okay, ooh. Once again, let's see if we can pull this off. It does seem like our positioning, or our trajectory, does need to be perfect here for this to work, because we did just barely miss one when we tried to do this last time. There you go. Surely that'll do the trick, right?
That was pretty swell.
Apparently that's how it's done, because here we'll level up to level 7. And we've seen both of these abilities before. I think Bounce was the discharge, ricocheting bolt, jumping from target to target, giving us some additional AoE, or that's in the active slot. Add a chain reactive effect to most functions as a support ability. That sounds like the kind of thing that could be really useful for Breach. Then, if we were to use that as a passive, gain a deflecting shield that negates damage to the user. That also sounds really nice. Only costs 2 memory, which I'm a little bit surprised about. Get is cheap. Just 1 memory. Force target close to the user. So it's get over here. Stronger against distant targets. Yeah, this was the one that was really hard to aim in one of the challenges, right? Make most functions pull targets out of position. Draw in cells faster from further away is the passive. Not really seeing this. Not really. I mean, I'm sure there are ways in which you can make it useful, but it just feels like there's not as much to go off here. Bounce just feels like a much more useful piece. Then, ooh, we get to pick either +4 memory, +1 passive slot, or +1 upgrade slot. I think we have been hard-pressed for memory as of late. That has been our primary bottleneck thus far. So I think that's probably what we'd most benefit from, at least at this point in time. So let's grab that. Okay. Now, is there a place where we can say, make some upgrades? Now that we have access to a little, oops, more memory. That is not what I meant to do. That's where it came from.
You're going because I do not at this time.
Ooh, okay. Anti-chasing trail for the Clucker 2.0, the newly upgraded Clucker. Well, there's another Clucker 2.0. Okay, hold on. Let's scout. We'll undo these. just want to see, oh, what exactly we're getting ourselves into here. Because it's, what, 3 cluckers, very spread out. That seems to be the deal. Nothing else over there? Okay. Now that we know that, tell you what I think we do. We dodge without being in turn using jaunts, and then we take a second to summon our amiga over here, Luna. Then we'll... Actually, let's go for the most distant clucker. Because your mobility is better than Red's mobility, for the most part. And then for Red, and tell you what, then after that, oh, that's gonna take all your energy. Fair enough. For Red, can we hold on? Yeah, I guess we have to do that. And then Spark. And then I'm not sure if that breach is gonna hit that last one, but we'll give it a shot. Oh yeah, sure, go for it. It works.
Think you stepped in something?
Ah, it slows us down if we're standing right on top of them as they go down. Okay. That one is now switched. But let us go after you. I mean, theoretically that's sufficient. I think we avoided the goo that time. Okay, now, Luna, since there's only one of them remaining, let's have you just, like, casually go to the complete opposite end of the map so that you don't accidentally turn them when we don't actually want them to be turned. Then for Red, can we get into backstabby area here? Not really. Apparently that is blocked. But that's not. Okay, I am highly skeptical that these breaches will all hit, but we're gonna try. It does appear to have worked. Is that Red? Or is that the sword? Because that did not sound good. OBC relay.
Terminals around town holding up pretty good, all things considered.
8 emergency broadcasts today. That's a normal amount, right? That does sound like it.
Racket towers.
Okay. Still hoping that we can track down a place where we can upgrade our skills, because we did, of course, pick up some additional memory. I mean, in fact, hold on just a second. If we go backwards a little bit here. I think there was one over here. Is there not? There is. So we might be about to run into one anyway, but we might as well take a look here because we did, what? Was it Bounce that we just picked up? Or most recently, I think so, and we, perhaps even more importantly, have 4 memory to work with now. So, oh, we do have Load. We unlocked that? Really? So we were talking about this as an active skill. Oh, we were using it as a passive, or rather a support ability before. Oh, really? If you put that as a passive, it generates volatile packets instantly at a regular interval. Wow. That sounds nifty. We have been using Mask as our passive ability. Haven't noticed, there were a few times when I noticed us disappearing, but I haven't taken much notice as of late. So, I don't know how much this is really helping us. We may now have more useful things to put in that slot. Just take a close look at Bounce. That could now factor into the equation as well. Discharge Ricocheting Bolt is the active ability, but we don't have room for any other active abilities, and not unless we end up unlocking another slot soon, which we had the option of doing. But we went for the memory instead. Add a chain reactive effect to most functions. That's what I was saying. Would be a very cool option for us. And at one point in time, I think we might have been saying that something like increasing the AoE or maybe even chaining ability on help so that it charms more enemies more quickly could be useful. But as we have recently discovered, if multiple enemies are charmed, you can't damage charmed enemies. So if every enemy is charmed, then you just can't really do much of anything. So although in theory it might initially have sounded great, in practice perhaps not nearly as good as we had initially thought. So I mean, we could still use this on something else, but probably more likely to use it on Breach rather than on our help. And also, Jaunt. Just thinking about what might happen if we throw some things on Jaunt. Cooldown speed is faster, distance reduced. Oh, that's weird. So yeah, Jaunt obviously is not a damaging ability. That I think tends to mean that support skills function a little bit differently. Not so much in this case, because this thing just reduces the cost, and that's still applicable even for a non-damaging skill. We'll try increasing the AoE of a Jaunt. What does that do? Destination damage and blast radius. Whoa. The Jaunt starts to deal damage all of a sudden. That's kind of intriguing. That is a little bit intriguing, turning Jaunt into a bit of an offensive ability. I mean, 50 damage is actually not bad. I mean, it's not Breach levels, but that is something. That's what? About the same as base Spark? Kind of intrigued. I'm not convinced that this is actually the best way to do it, but it is an interesting option, at the very least. And then we do have one remaining, which means we can throw on Ping, and maybe just put it here onto Breach to make it a little bit cheaper. Oh, and it increases the attack speed as well. I did not remember that part, but... Or we could... increase the move speed, reduce the bar cost by 50%. Ooh. Bark is expensive. The actual active attack ability that Help uses. And so this, I mean, cutting it in half. Twice as many barks? That's a pretty big deal. Whereas in this case, it's only a 25% cost reduction. And you do get the additional attack speed, but I'm not sure how much of a difference that's really going to make. I feel like it might actually be better to double down on Help here. Yes, it does mean that at times, probably does work best if we were to take the, if we were to take Switch off. Because remember, of course, we switch an enemy by hitting them once with the doggo, then we can't damage them anymore. And so if the whole point of making it so that Bark costs less is that we can attack enemies more times, it doesn't work if we can't damage them. So that, maybe. It's interesting, but not ideal. So I guess we will put the Ping on Breach after all. And Breach, of course, was one of, probably remains, the ability that we've used the most, so still something to be said for that, I think.